Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa mustafa wa ba'd. My dear viewers, welcome to another live edition of our program, Ask Huda. Our phone numbers, area code 002, then 0238555123 and 132. And the other number is the same area code, then 01005469323. And we're also going live streaming on my page, Dr. Muhammad Salah Official. We'll be more than happy, inshallah, to start collecting your phone calls, questions, and inquiries, whether online or on the phone, inshallah. We have a few questions that pending from the previous episode, and I also have received online. The first one is from one sister who says, can I open the email, phone messages, and Facebook messages of my husband without his permission, but he gave me his password? The first part of your question makes the audience perceive that you're doing this in order to spy on him, because you're asking, can I do that? Which means it is without his permission. Meanwhile, he said that he gave you the password. If he gave you the password and you have a full access like him exactly, then you don't need a permission. But if anything that he is concealing and protecting and it is only for him, then the ayah of Surah Al-Hujurat applies here as well. وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا. وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا, which means do not spy on each other. So if I have been concealing some informations, which is none of your concern, you don't have the right to spy on me or to try to investigate to find out. Okay, barakallahu fikum. Norki Mershad. Norki says, a friend argues that there are some ladies who were prophets. I asked him to substantiate his argument, and he's yet to give an answer. Kindly, how far is that true? The true opinion and the true answer to that all the prophets and messengers were males. This is what the Quran stated, and this is what even the previous revelations have stated. In Surah Al-Anbiya, and Al-Anbiya means the prophets, there is a whole chapter which is called the prophets. It listed a number of prophets and some of their stories briefly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا قَبْلَكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِمْ. We have not sent before you but men whom we have revealed unto them. Why some people, including your friend, is claiming that there were some prophets of women? Because the literal meaning of some of the ayat, such as أوحينا إلى أم موسى أن أرضعيه فإذا خفت عليه فألقيه في اليم ولا تخافي ولا تحزني. The ayah says that we have inspired Moses' mother that if you fear for your Moses' safety, then suckle him, but if you fear for his safety, ألقيه في اليم, throw him in the river. But this is not the wahi of the appointment and the commission of the prophethood at all whatsoever. In Surah An-Nisa, Allah the Almighty says, it is men who are the guardians of women, not the other way around. They are protectors, they are maintainers of women. They are the leaders in the community. Also, that we all know that due to the physiological nature of women experiencing the menses, for a few days every month, and during that she doesn't pray and she doesn't fast because of the menses, that won't give the woman an access to lead the community, okay, because she will be taking a break during this time. But these are all supporting evidences. But the very obvious proof is ayah number 7 of Surah Al-Anbiya, that we have not sent before you but rijal and men whom we revealed unto them. So Maryam ibnata Imran, Jesus' mother, was not a prophet. Asiya bint Muzahim, the Pharaoh's wife, was not a lady prophet. Moses' mother was not a prophet as well. Rather, they were righteous people, but they were not prophets. The prophets were all men, as the Quran stated before. The next question is from MD Abid. Assalamu alaikum. I want to know about A'mal and Ibadat. Are all A'mal, are Ibadat or Ibadat, are specific by reference of Quran, Sahih Hadith? Please discuss. You know, the explanation of that will not really make you a better believer. It is simply discussing the literal meaning of the difference between A'mal. I read it as the questioner spelled it A'mal, but he refers to A'mal, which is plural of Amal. And Al-Amal is a condition for the proving of one's faith and Islam and so on. So Al-Iman, ما وقر في القلب وصدقه العمل, is what settles in one's heart, and it is verified and it is proved through the actions. If a person said أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله and he doesn't pray, and he refuses to pay zakah, he doesn't fast, and he does the opposite, whatever is forbidden he does it, so he only claims by mere uttering the shahada, but he is not by any means proven that he is a believer through his or her actions. Any act of worship is amal. The prayers, fasting, zakah, hajj, you name it, these are all a'mal. So the general word is a'mal, which is plural of amal, and among the a'mal, the acts of worship or the ibadat. Subhanallah, in maybe about 60 ayahs, 60 references in the Quran, you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referring to joining al-iman along with al-amal al-salih in order to be eligible for entering paradise. So you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات سيجعل لهم الرحمن ودا, Surah Maryam. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات إنا لا نضيع أجر من أحسن عملا إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. So all these references, as I said, you have about 60 ayahs scattered all over the Quran. Their word specifically of entering paradise is relating to al-iman along with al-amal al-salih. Not just iman, rather iman and doing good righteous deeds. Good righteous deeds include the ibadat, which the duties that the servant owes to his creator, the mu'amalat, the business dealings and dealing with other human beings and family members, friends and spouses and all of that. These are all mu'amalat, the dealings. They enter under the big umbrella which is known as a'mal. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. Adnan Ali in today's episode is asking, and subhanallah, Adnan, you have asked this question a few times before and I did answer it. Maybe you didn't hear the answer. Adnan is asking, if someone listens to Surah Al-Mulk before going to sleep, will he receive the same reward as one who recites the surah I said listening to the Quran, provided it is listening, not hearing, gives you a similar word of the recitation, especially if a person doesn't know how to recite, so instead he listens to Surah Al-Mulk. That would achieve the same word, and the same purpose will be fulfilled. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that whenever the Quran is recited, you should be what? فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. استمعوا is further more specific and extensive than اسمعوا. اسمعوا, اسمع, hear. But استمع, listen attentively. So if the person is listening to the Quran attentively, that secures him a word similar to the recitation of the Quran. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to ask some of his companions to recite the Quran before him, such as when he asked Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, to the point that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, Ya Rasulullah, how can I recite the Quran upon you while it was revealed upon you? He said, recite Ibn Abd, since I love to hear it from other than myself. So whenever the Quran is recited, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ, whenever you hear the Quran, especially in the prayer, فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. السَّمَاع and al-istima' gives you a similar word to the recitation of the Quran. As I said, I would be able to answer the questions which are kind of short and brief, but if the question is like a newsletter, then I would have to look at it during the break. I won't be able to read this whole long question, which maybe halfway I decide, this is a personal story, I would rather not answer the question, or summarize and compress the question so that I can give the answer in brief. Yusra El Shazli, is it permissible for young women to teach the youth, including young men, within the university or by giving public lectures with niqab? Yes, it is permissible, as long as you're wearing your proper hijab and this is a public address, you're not sitting one-on-one in private place, it is permissible. Mishal says, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Muhammad. My question is how to perform sujood al-sahw. Is it also composed of two sujood like we do while doing the regular sujood in every rak'ah? Jazakallah khairan. Yes, it is called sajdatay as-sahw, the two prostrations to make up for any forgetfulness that happened in the prayer. But how to offer them? First, we have to look into what have you forgotten. Have you forgotten a sunnah or a wajib, a fard? If it was something mandatory and it's a pillar of the prayer, then in addition to offering the two prostrations for forgetfulness, the person must make up that missed pillar. I like to give the example. If somebody prayed one complete rak'ah, it was in the first rak'ah, then in the second or third rak'ah, somehow he remembered that I only made one sujood, not two prostrations. In this case, the whole rak'ah, the whole unit will be void, and he would have to make up a whole new rak'ah. Okay? So technically, if you're praying dhuhr or asr, and the first rak'ah you didn't pray one of the two sajdas, then you would end up praying 5 rak'ahs because the first one did not count. In addition to that, by the end, you offer two prostrations and then you make taslim. That's called sujudu as-sahw or sajdatay as-sahw. If what you have forgotten is something which is sunnah, then you don't have to make it up. It will be sufficient to pray the two prostrations for forgetfulness, and that will make it up for you. Rabi'a Akhtar, Assalamu alaikum Sheikh, I'm ill, I'm a kidney patient. Could you please say to me any a'mal that I can try for my cure? Jazakallahu khairan. First of all, Sister Rabi'a, I take this opportunity to make dua and ask Allah the Almighty to give you a quick recovery and shifa. And I also like to remind myself and you and all the viewers that sickness are one of the means through which Allah the Almighty wipes out the sins of the believers. So it is not really a bad thing if you endure that patiently and you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even for such a big test. Thirdly, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered us that if you feel ill or sick, you should seek remedy. He said, تداووا عباد الله ولا تتداووا بمحرم. Seek remedy as long as you do not take a treatment which is something forbidden. So may Allah give you a quick shifa. Ameen. Sister or Farhan after, because you know the name Farhan, most likely that's a brother. Surah Al-Mulk, can we recite after Isha but an hour or so before sleeping? Yes, you may, because the hadith is talking about reciting it at night. Anas Jurumi, Anas is asking, can a woman in her period do Tawaf and Sa'i, and is her Umrah accepted? I can't give you a short answer, because number one, when the Prophet ﷺ came to learn that Aisha is experiencing her period, he calmed her down and he assured her that will not diminish her word, it will not affect the acceptance or the qabul of her Hajj. And he said, simply do everything that the Hajj normally does except for Tawaf. So Tawaf is similar to Salah. It requires tahara from minor and major impurities, which means you will have to wait until the period is over. Then you left the major impurity by performing ghusl. What if, as we all know that we have flight bookings, airplane tickets, hotel reservations, I mean, before we've come, we have a fixed schedule. We didn't come on the back of the camels so that we can camp and hang around for an extra week for the ladies to finish their period one after another. No, you have a schedule that you are committed to follow. And in this case, Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, said, if she has to leave with the caravan or the company and it is not feasible for her to come back, you're not living in Jeddah, you're not living in Taif, you're not living an hour or 2 hours away from Mecca, you're living far away. It will be sufficient to perform ghusl. And in this case, after performing ghusl and wearing the pad, you perform Tawaf and you followed by Sa'i. Sa'i does not require tahara. Yani if a person is performing Sa'i between Safa and Marwa and void his or her wudu, or even if the period started halfway while doing Sa'i, resume. You don't have to make wudu. It is better, of course, you do. But if you don't, then your Sa'i is valid. Unlike the Tawaf, we said a Tawaf is similar to the prayer as far as a prerequisite of the Tahara from the beginning to end. If at any time while performing Tawaf you void your wudu, then you gotta stop, leave to make wudu and come back to resume from the same spot or count a new round. So in this case, a Sa'i cannot be performed before Tawaf, which means if you enter Mecca and you have started your period, hang around, hang on, do not do Tawaf. And obviously if you didn't do Tawaf, you cannot do Sa'i as well. You gotta wait until the period is over, unless if you have to leave tomorrow or today. In this case you perform ghusl, you still think that there is plenty of bleeding and it may take another couple days, no problem, perform ghusl, do Tawaf and Sa'i and leave. May Allah the Almighty accept. Abdul Latif is asking, can a woman correct a man's recitation during Salah if the two of them are praying obligatory prayer? يعني sometimes when I'm leading my wife in the prayer, and if I forget, she has memorized the whole Quran, mashallah, so she corrects me. There is nothing wrong with that. Okay? It may be problematic if that happens in the masjid and she has to raise her voice. Because in the case of women, the Prophet ﷺ said that women would clap in order to remind the Imam. Men would do any form of dhikr, subhanallah, to remind the Imam, or Allahu Akbar, any form of dhikr to remind them that you have forgotten one rak'ah or you've forgotten one thing. Okay, barakallahu feek. So, but if you're leading your wife in the prayer and you err in the recitation, or you make a mistake, or you forget, she can correct you. Amber Hussein, thank you for the compliment. Fabulous. I want to ask you about the tradition. Can I explain the Quran without explainer of Ahlus Sunnah or Islam? Well, your question is not clear, but I may look into one phrase of your question, which is, can I explain the Quran on my own? No, you can't explain the Quran on your own. Why not? Because Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anh, the one who was alive when the Quran was still being revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who used to hear the Quran freshly revealed, said something very interesting. You need to learn about it after this call. Assalamu alaikum. Mujid from Algeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Go ahead.
How are you, Sheikh?
Doing fine, alhamdulillah, brother.
Okay. I have one question. What is the negative side of the Muslims Brotherhood, Jama'at Ikhwan Muslimin?
You know, Ya Akhi Majid, how many times you have called over the past 6 months asking the same questions? Do you think this is really pressing? Do you think the answer to this question is very pressing? You know, I hope inshallah you won't have to ask this question anymore. You know, I'm not judging any person's faith or belief, especially if they say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. I do not have the power to take people out of the folds of Islam or call them names if they say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah and they maintain the main principles of the deen. So I hope inshallah you won't have to bother ask this question again. Barakallahu feek. What was the statement of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anh? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq is a man who Arabic was his language, you know, similar to the rest of the companions, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr were best friends even before Islam. He said literally, أي سماء تظلني وأي أرض تقلني إن أنا قلت في القرآن برأيي. Where can I find a heaven, a sky to shelter me? Where can I find a ground to bear me if I dare to explain the Quran based on my views and my opinion? So then how do we illustrate, how do we explain the Quran? There are two ways. The Quran explains the Quran itself. So ayat explain other ayat. I can give you an example. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Muhammad from Qatar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, how are you? Sheikh?
I'm doing fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking, brother.
Yeah, I want to ask you because I'm from Sri Lanka. From my hometown, like people normally, for example, they go for a Hajj for Umrah. they offering to their parents to go Hajj. That because they didn't do the first time for themselves, but they are offering to these parents go for Hajj. Is that okay for that? Because of as per my understanding, the person, individuals should complete that Hajj first, then they have to offer from others. So this way they are following. Am I right for this? Can you please explain about this?
Okay, thank you, Brother Muhammad. The ayah says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. So Al-Hajj, pilgrimage, is, as you all know, that it is the fifth pillar of Islam, provided the person can afford it, can afford the means, and can afford traveling and bear the hardship of the journey. Sometimes a person is broke, doesn't have the means, then he is not required to perform Hajj. He is exempt from Hajj as long as he is in dire need and his financial restraint is remaining. If the person is physically unable to travel but he's got the means, he still have to perform Hajj by proxy, by appointing or sending somebody to perform Hajj in his or her state. Now the parents didn't perform Hajj because they couldn't afford it. They are exempt. It is not mandatory upon them. I am the son and I have the means to perform Hajj. It is obligatory upon me to perform Hajj. My father is dying to go for Hajj. He asked me to assist him financially to go for Hajj, or my mother. أنت ومالك لأبيك. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. You and what you own belong to your father. So my wealth actually is also possessed by my father. So if he wants to take it, if he wants to go for Hajj out of it, I will give him the priority. If he's not asking, and if they're not demanding, because they are not required to perform Hajj because they do not possess the means, then I have the means, I perform Hajj for myself. It is my duty to offer Hajj for myself. Later on, I do have the means to send them for Hajj. Please do so, and you will get a similar word to your father, to your mother's Hajj, or to the person whom you send for Hajj. Barakallahu feekum. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back inshallah in a few minutes. Please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Our phone number should appear on the bottom of the screen, and mashallah we have many questions. Let me see which one shall I begin with. Farah Farel is asking about, with regards to the name Amira, which is obviously the name of Prophet Muhammad's mother. May the best peace and blessings be upon him. He says, as I understand that his parents died as non-believers, so why do people insist on naming their daughters Amina? Amina is such a beautiful name. Amina means a woman who is secure, and security comes as a result of faith. So there is, many good reasons which may make a person call his daughter or name their child Amina. Okay? No problem with that. Mimi Saleh, is organ donation permissible in Islam? It is permissible with very strict conditions. The first condition deals with the physician's recommendation that the recipient's life is contingent on receiving this organ, a kidney, a part of a liver, in order to survive. I'll continue after this call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Abu Muhammad from Iraq.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Sheikh?
I'm doing fine by the grace of Allah. Thank you for asking, brother.
Alhamdulillah. Sheikh, may I ask you a question, please?
Please.
Regarding the ablution, wudu. If you touch the hand of your wife by accident, not deliberately, is the ablution is still valid, or we have to make it again?
Got your question, brother
Is void
Muhammad.
or valid?
I got your question. Okay. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
We pray for you people in Iraq. May Allah grant you peace and security. Ameen. Okay. Abu Muhammad's question is, if a person touched his wife's hand accidentally, not deliberately, would that invalidate his ablution? Even if you touch her hand deliberately, not only that, even if you kiss her, as long as this kiss doesn't lead to anything which may invalidate one's wudu. It has been narrated by Salama and other mothers of the believers that the Prophet ﷺ, while leaving from home, going to the masjid to lead the prayer, he would kiss his wife on the cheek. So that is permissible. Touching one's wife, hugging one's wife, kissing one's wife, shaking hands does not invalidate the wudu. As a matter of fact, even though shaking hands with a woman who's not lawful for you is not permissible in Islam, but if it happens, it doesn't invalidate the wudu. It is not one of the acts which nullify ablution. But provided it shouldn't be with desire or shahwa. Okay? What Imam al-Shafi'i, may Allah have mercy on him, differed with the rest of the scholars in this regard, because he expressed about أَوْ لَمَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ as mere physical touch. But the ayah obviously is talking about, and according to the understanding of most of the interpreters of the Quran, the Sahaba, the companions, and the Muslim jurists, it refers to the intimate sexual relationship, not mere touching. So the hadith of Salah and others are much more powerful. The Prophet ﷺ used to kiss his wife while he is going to the masjid to lead the prayer. He doesn't have a chance to make wudu. So the iqamah is called, he would kiss his wife and go, step outside, go to the masjid to lead the prayer. Okay, barakallahu feek. We're talking about organ donations. So we said the first condition is the recommendation of the specialists, the physicians, that this person will not survive unless if somebody donates a kidney or a liver lobe or whatever part of an organ in order to spare his life. And also, what about the donor? Will taking this piece of his liver, taking one of her kidneys, will not affect their health. After a while they will recover, they will live healthy, and they will be able to function as normal. The third condition, which is still will be determined by the specialists and the physicians, is the compatibility. We're not doing this in order to try. We're not giving it a try. We do it because it is confirmed that the blood groups and everything is compatible, so we can do the transfer, and the both patients now, because even the donor will become a patient, will survive and will be healthy. Now the fiqhi condition, which physicians have nothing to do with it, is it shouldn't be for a compensation. It should be, as you suggested, organ donations, not selling one's body parts. Human trafficking is a major sin. And those who are involved in human trafficking, whether they are physicians or people who are working in the black market selling body parts, should be punished by law, severe punishment. And the Constitution of all nations should set severe punishment for people who get involved in selling body parts and human trafficking. That is absolutely forbidden in Islam. Even if it is your own self that you want to give somebody's advertising that I need a kidney, blood type, this and that, and a donor, and I will appreciate that. Somebody comes forward and say, I will give you one of my kidneys for 500K. And the recipient, if he has the money, sure. Why? Because it will spare his life. But it is not permissible for both of them. Why? Because it is not permissible to sell any of your body parts. But after the donor decided to give this as a gift, the rich person, as a token of appreciation, he gave you $10 million. Enjoy it. It's a gift, no problem. It was not a condition that you're going to give him your kidney for a certain price. I hope the answer is clear. Brother Sayyid Zafar, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. How long is it permissible for a husband to stay away from his wife? For example, workers in Gulf usually visit their families after a year and so. Is there any bindings for husband to must meet his wife within a specific time? Yes, according to the ijtihad of Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him. He said that the maximum period of time that a man should stay away from his wife is 6 months, based on an incident that happened when he normally used to do to check out on the Muslim community in Medina at night when people are asleep. So he heard a woman was talking. He overheard her. It was late at night, and she phrased her complaint in a very interesting poem, and she was saying, I swear to God, if it was not for the fear from Allah, my bed should have been moving by now, which means she could have ended up in an illicit relationship because of her need. And many men think it's only men who have that sexual desire, and women do not necessarily share the same feeling, which is not true. So women too have their physical needs, which need to be satisfied. Because of that, Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anh consulted his daughter, Hafsa. And who's Hafsa? She was married to the Prophet ﷺ. She's our mother. May Allah be pleased with her and all the mothers of the believers. And she suggested that maximum 6 months. So immediately he found out where is her husband, this woman who's complaining, to herself, by herself. She was all alone at home. So he knew that her husband is being deployed in one of the armies, and that's why he's gone for a long time. So he decided, and he sent to all the commanders of the Muslim armies, that any soldier should not stay away from his family more than 6 months. 6 months is the maximum period of time. Having said so, it is also worth mentioning here that sometimes it is urgent. You need to come. You need to come. So you got to understand the message. It doesn't have to be 6 months. It could be 1 month, based on what you know about your spouse, her needs. Okay? There are some other people whom this kind of relationship is not a priority. They do not really yearn for it. It happens whenever it happens. Now they have a bunch of kids and they're settled. So he's staying for a whole year. She's okay, and he's cool, he's working, and she's not complaining, no problem. But what some of these sponsors in the Gulf do by confiscating the passports of their employees, and they ban them from traveling to visit their families for 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years, despite their dire need, they are criminals. You heard me right. In Islam, they are criminals. They are oppressors. Such person is a zalim. Such person is an oppressor. This is not permissible. There is nothing in Islam or in any faith or religion like that. And I hope that will change, where every person would have an access to travel whenever he believes that I should be traveling right now, as long as he doesn't have any commitment, like financial commitment, or he is in debt, or he owes people anything. Okay? So I hope, again, not only that my answer is satisfactory, but I hope that my answer reaches the sponsors, the people who control a lot of employees. And I hope that they understand that those people are not their slaves or their servants. Before Allah, they could be much better than them. And sometimes the sponsor himself is much better than the employees. Only Allah knows best. But everyone should be given their due rights. You do not only demand your rights and you ignore the rights. If it was up to me, that everyone should be able to bring his spouse and his family, so that he would not long for something haram, because he's far away from his family and for months or for years, and he's in financial difficulty that he's got to stay. We do have many questions, brothers and sisters, but we ran out of time, so we will conclude today's episode by asking Allah the Almighty to pardon us and to grant us all forgiveness, and to teach us what we don't know, and to grant us the ability to do the good deeds. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance.